Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to an all-new Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce After show here at AfterBuzz TV. Tonight we're going to be breaking down Season 3, Episode 4, titled Rule Number 225, What Happens in Bakersfield Stays in Bakersfield. We have a special guest Skyping in tonight, Cynthia Summers, the costume designer of Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. We have a lot to talk about, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, hello, AfterBuzzers. Thank you all again so much for tuning in to the Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce After show here at AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SamD43. Before I introduce our special guest, we have two of the OG GG2D panel.
Right here.
Right here. Guys, introduce yourself. Let us know where we can find you on Twitter.
Hey, sorry, I'm distracted by this awesome song.
So good.
I'm Lindsey Miller. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rockin' Mama Life.
And I'm enjoying my share moments. He took it away, but I am Tara Johnson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TJ Wagging Her Tail.
And guys, we have Cynthia Summers here Skyping in. The fans can see you, Cynthia. Hello.
Ooh,
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much. You are actually, I'm so glad you're on the show because you're the costume designer, the way that you do your work, costumes are
Amazing.
Basically
Yes.
a character.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
And you never mess with the people that dress you or do your hair and makeup.
And there
That's
you go.
right.
Ever.
Ever. That's right.
Ever.
So for the fans out there that want to follow you and like your life as this awesome costume designer, where can they find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, and it's Cynthia A. Summers at Twitter, and I'm also on Instagram, and it's Cynthia Summers on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, guys, what did we think about tonight's episode?
It's about time. I feel like this is the first episode I've really liked this season thus
Really?
far. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
That is
No.
interesting.
You weren't here last week. I feel like they've been kind of
I have to say, I'm actually happy I was not here last week because when I watched it at home, I was ticked. I was like, how dare you? Glad I wasn't there. Would not have been pretty. But,
Wow.
Was it the Barbara Abbey?
oh gosh,
Yeah.
don't
Not
even
right.
get me started.
Yes. Well, Cynthia, have you been on the show from the beginning? Or
I have been on the show from the beginning, and I think that to what you're talking about, I think it's been hard to get over Abby and Jake.
yeah.
You know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that heading into this season where it's all girls all the time and I think we just really missed Jake. It was really gut-wrenching when he left. And of course, we need to move on from Jake, but I think it's been a little hard. And I think this episode is the first, I don't know, Girls Gone Wild sort of episode where the ladies actually go and have some fun.
Yeah.
And we obviously get to dress up, and then, Abby doesn't get to go with them, so that she's off on her own adventure in Bakersfield, which is like, what?
Yeah. Nobody goes to Bakersfield unless you have to.
Yeah, they have an in and out on the way to Vegas.
That's right, or just fly right over it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think to what you're saying, it's a good episode for the ladies to get out and have some fun. So that's why we like it, I think.
So, since you've been in this from the beginning, do you still watch it, or are you able to see early cuts? And how does it affect you as a viewer versus like working on the show?
Well, it's very interesting because, as you probably know, we're actually shooting season 5 right now. So when I was talking to people about doing this, we're doing episode what? On what season?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Oh my God, what happened that season? Oh, it was the Palm Springs episode. Okay.
And what are you not allowed to say
I was going to say,
right
what
now?
can you tell us?
Yeah.
Well, no.
But that would be hard.
No,
Like
can't do it.
if I knew what was coming up next, I would be like, I'm sorry, I cannot do that interview because I cannot keep my mouth shut.
No, but I just have like a strategical question because the way Bravo, picked up the show, they were like, okay, season 3, 4 and 5, and then
Yeah.
they told us season 5 was the end, and then they told us 4 and 5 were pretty short, right? They're gonna be, I think this is released, and not a spoiler, it's like 6 episodes ish.
Yeah. They're doing 3 seasons, and they're separated into 7, 6, and 6. And they're short. And I actually don't know exactly how they're airing them, and I'm not sure if they're going to do, they're done season 3. I don't know if they're going to do season 4 in the same year or wait a year. Ooh, I hope not.
No,
But
they can't.
yeah, I know it's too long, right?
That is too long.
Way too long. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think we don't know how they're going to do it, but I think it'll be sooner than later. So I mean, who wants to wait?
Right.
Nah.
Yeah.
So after season 5, though, it's over.
Yeah, sadly, that's the end. And there's pluses and minuses to that. The pluses are, and I think Marti Noxon, the creator, has said this in an interview. You've got a definitive beginning and end to these characters' stories, so you can really make a really beautiful story arc, as opposed to getting to the end of a season and waiting to know if you're picked up. It's less of a end. It's always a cliffhanger. So this will tell a complete story for all the characters, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for what the show is trying to do, which is be very honest about the
divorce
evolution, and life and middle-aged life for women. And when you have these cliffhangers, then you get these kind of unrealistic storylines where you've got this poor room of writers that you're like, now fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now find a way to fix it that makes sense, so people don't think this show is horrible now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
the bummer part about it is that as a crew and cast, it's kind of sad that the end is coming. So you go through this emotional roller coaster while you're shooting of, the family's happy, and the family being the cast and crew, we're all a happy bunch, and then we're a little bit depressed about the whole thing, and then we're just a little bit angry for a little while, and then we get happy again, and then we're just kind of, the end is here. What are we going to do? So just celebrate it. So it's kind of a,
it's like senior year of college.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And then after that, the real world is happening. What am I going to do next?
That's the worst, the real world, honestly.
Yeah.
It just is. Let's talk about tonight's episode. So as we said, we go to Palm Springs. I'm a big fan of Palm Springs. I know
hot.
Lindsay.
Guess we have one vote that's not.
It's so hot. I mean, it's the middle of the desert. I don't know who was like, let's take this place that's 500,000 degrees where no life should exist and make it a resort town. People were
what else could you make
here for glamorous things when their feet are burning on the pavement. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. My idea is if you're going to go to a place like this that's, a city that's sprung in the desert, well, I guess Vegas. Why not go to Vegas?
If Vegas is a little too much for you, then
Different.
Yeah, exactly.
Desert, completely. Yeah.
You do. I feel like you do, Tara. You like Palm Springs, huh?
I mean, look, I like the heat. I like the heat, especially if it's dry. I'm from Georgia, where there's tons of humidity, so I do not want to go.
You that.
Yes,
I'll give you that.
If I can go somewhere and catch some heat without the humidity, I'm in, 100% in.
Well, let's focus on just the girls. It's Phoebe, Delia, and Joe. They go without Abby because Abby is, at the baseball game, which we will get into in the second portion of this show. But they go in there, and I mean, Phoebe, can we just talk about her for a second? Oh, man, it's a big mess. It's embarrassing.
But a big
mess.
She's a gorgeous mess, though.
Yeah.
I just find it so unattractive to be that disconnected from reality.
Well, I just think she's going through a really hard time, and that's the only way for her to kind of get through it, was to kind of mask it. But I will say I was really surprised that she was not honest with her. I considered Phoebe to be this really open, free spirit.
Yeah.
So she had these financial problems. It really surprised me that she tried so hard to hide
but
them.
I think it's good writing and good acting because she usually is, the one who always sees the sunnier side of the situation, and she's the one that always she's lost her support group. She's lost her alimony, and she's she's possibly losing her husband, or they're disconnected at the very least. And she's adrift, and she's floundering, and she's doing that thing that people sometimes do when they are like really lost, and they're really, really trying to hang on for dear life. And it kind of, doesn't show the very pretty side of us. So I think that's what's great about the show. It does, we are having fun and we do play dress up, but it's about real stories and real people and how they, real characters, and how they navigate these sort of situations. And I think it's good for us to see this side of Phoebe, because it makes her feel a little more real, right? Like she's, she's not perfect. She looks perfect.
She does.
Well, how does that go in, like, when you are, doing the wardrobe for her character? It's just because I feel like the other characters, their wardrobe kind of goes up and down in different phases, because that's what their it's like a mood ring.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
clothing.
exactly.
But, Phoebe is still kind of just so adamant in being who she was.
And that's the key. That's exactly it with her character. If you take Delia's a much more volatile character. Like, she's outwardly explosive or calm and straight through. And even Abby is like that. And Jo is just like a firecracker. But Phoebe, for us, has always been the grounded one. She's been, she's lived through some hard times, so she's matured through that. But she's also been supported because she's married, wealthy, and she's got great kids, and her life just is okay. Like, she's just really always okay. So I think it's good for the rest of the girls to see her failing, because she just seems more real. I think she seems more real. It gives more depth to her character. She's usually the one that's floating through and keeping everybody connected and bringing everybody back into the sunny circle of friends. And it'll be interesting, I think, when you're watching, to see how the rest of the season goes with her going through her rocky period and what happens to the group as a whole. I think it really affects the group.
I feel a very lesbian fashion vibe coming on, I'm just saying.
Well, she's definitely going to hook up with Gemma.
Oh, yeah, something's happening with Gemma.
What did she say? Sexuality is fluid, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying she's going to hook up with Gemma.
Or Gemma's money. At least she's going to try to hook up with Gemma's money.
It's going to get real dirty.
Yes, I think she's really, obviously, she's just, she's all caught up in that. She's caught up in the possibility of not drowning in her world and sort of staying above it all. Only she's reaching too far and into kind of a, not a really nice place, I think. It's really,
Refreshing.
I think it's beneath her, really.
It is. It's a very hanger-on, opportunist.
Yeah, subtly.
Yeah.
Not pretty, yeah.
And I'm really surprised that we're seeing this side. But like we were saying, it's great for the character to see a different side, because she's always been so, meditating and so, like, even and calm all the time. To see her a little unrattled.
Yeah.
Well, but I think it goes to, it's like, it's very easy to be grateful and happy and grounded when everything is going your way.
Of course, right.
It's a lot harder to be that person who's upbeat and positive and very grounded and put together when stuff hits the fan. Like, when things start going downhill and you're broke and you're trying to survive in this crazy world where, like, people will start a GoFundMe campaign if you don't have a nanny. Like, it's, like, for real.
But I think that's the interesting thing. Is she really broke? I mean, regular people terms, I don't think she's broke. Her world, she's broke. And I think that's the part that's so interesting to me, where I'm like, you really, I mean, if you sold that house, you'd still be doing better than the majority of people in this world. So I think that's the real interesting part, because, in your bubble, you're broke, but you ain't broke.
Right. And but she hasn't for the most of her life not known any other way to live. So I think that's the scary part for her. I think she's a survivor and she could do it, but it's that moment of going, okay, well, what does it look like on the other side? I don't really know, and how am I going to fit into the other side?
Yeah.
The other side of that bubble.
Well, I definitely want to touch on tonight and make sure we do Delia and Gordon.
Loved this.
Gordon.
And what's it like to style like the token man? I could see you miss Jake, and we do too.
Oh, but Gordon is top. I mean, to me, he's top. I love him.
Is that fun to
Gordon.
style like the man that's very few and far between on this show?
Yes, it is. And, our men, as you probably noticed, seem to come in groups and then they kind of all sort of dissipate as they get dumped or they leave or they do their thing. And Gordon is one of the characters that has come in, and he's much different than Jake, the way he looks, the way Jake looks, or the way that Scott looks, or the way that even Frumpkus looks. So he has an elevated style, but he's a handsome man. He's a man, like he's a handsome man. He's got an elevated style, and Delia gets weak in the knee around him, and that's tough because she's a tough one to crack. So that just adds to his mystique and his allure, and I think underneath it all he's actually a really nice guy. So what happened at the end of season 2 was heartbreaking between the two of them, and I think we're all kind of holding out that maybe they'll fix this. But I don't know. At the end of this episode, they sure didn't.
I kind of hope they don't.
Really?
Right?
I really do. I don't, because, and not that I don't like Delia, but I think that I think he's right. I think when you destroy someone that much, it's like, can you come back from that? Right. And I know people do it. I know, like, people will have infidelity in their marriage or their relationship and they can get past it, but there's a lot of people that can't. Like, I would never be able to. I've told my husband, I'm like, you better divorce me first, and she better be so hot that I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I know I could never get past it. It would be like this giant weight that you're just always waiting for it to happen again, and you just never can fully be in it. So I think it would do a disservice to both of them to enter back into that relationship.
Yeah, it's the truth. Once you get past that point of no return, you can fake it, but it'll never be the same. Yeah.
I think the honesty that he gave to her really showed, one, how much he cared for her, and two, how really mature he is, because he really could have strung her along. Like, he really could have strung her along. He could have gotten back together and hurt her. He could have given her the same speech that she gave to the guy that she cheated with Albert. She could have given him the same speech, but he was like, no, I almost care for you too much to even allow you to set yourself up, because I know this is not going anywhere.
Because he knows he'll never be 100% in it. So not only is it not fair to him, it's not fair to her, and he loves her, and she does deserve happiness and love, but it's not going to be with him because he's never going to be able to fully go there with her.
Right.
But the words he used were just crushing.
That was really good writing. It was really good writing.
If you really care for me, you won't reach out to me. I mean, my God.
You see me on the
getting the chills over here, you guys.
Can I just congratulate you, Cynthia, on your ability to dress Delia? Because I worked as an attorney.
Workout clothes.
Well, I'm just saying, her workout clothes, everything. I worked as an attorney in New York for years and just kind of felt that we had to dress in this particular type of way. Right. And you have found a way in order to give Delia style and strength, but still give her femininity, still kind of change her wardrobe to make her seem like a real person. And I just have not seen real attorneys really do that on a day-to-day basis. So true. Right? So I really applaud you for giving her a personality and really giving her a feeling.
Yeah, I have a great platform, and also I've got a great actress to work with. It's interesting you say that, because I'm sorry, I don't know who they are, but there was one firm in New York that reached out to me last year, and they started following the show because of Delia and because of what she was wearing, and they spoke to that. And I would love to know if anybody actually picks up on some of these looks. Obviously, there are some things that Delia wears to work that probably no attorney would wear to work. But why not? Like, why not wear something? I mean, maybe not in your day in court, but when you're in the office, or it's a day in the office, or you're meeting a client, why not? Why not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm so curious to know if it's inspired anyone to actually really do it in real life, like really sort of, up their game a little bit.
Ally McBeal. But don't go as far as Ally did, Ally.
She was a hot mess.
Ally was just short. There was
and
no
now
color.
We all
and
sound really old that we're referencing Ally McBeal. For those of you young people, it was
it's on
a really long time ago.
And it's one of the best shows in the entire world.
Before you could TiVo.
Anyways, guys, let's, we had a little bit of Jo. Since we don't have a lot of time left, I'm going to kind of skid over her because it's just stuff that's building. But I do want to ask questions about her style in the end with you. But let's get into Abby and Coach Brady.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys, I'm loving it.
Really?
Yeah, the sunflower seed. I can't.
I mean, we've
I
done
think it was
this.
hot when he grabbed her hand and they like made out in the laundry room. I'll give him that.
What did you think of the fantasy thing?
Disgusting.
I mean, quintessential romance novel, though. Like,
No.
pinpoint
Yes.
that.
And then he actually did spit it on her boob
Yes.
this episode. It's like she's
so
psychic or something.
Gross.
But how many times-
How is that? Like,
It was an
turn on?
accident, but she kind of knew that it happened in her head. She dreamt it or saw it when she was writing.
It's supposed to be it is what it is, but it's supposed to show. I mean, Abby's kind of kooky.
Oh,
Besides
yeah.
being
Right.
brilliant, she's kind of a Lucille Ball like in her character. She's a little nutty.
Yeah.
And of course her fantasy would go that way. Of course it would, because otherwise it would be, a true romance, icky, sappy moment. But I mean, her red dress falls off. He winds up actually spitting a seed on her in her fantasy.
Right.
If that happened, if I had a weird dream, like fantasy thing about a guy spitting the seeds on me, and I would have thought, Sam, you're weird, like get out of it. And then if it would have happened,
After you peed
oh,
in a car.
Yeah.
oh, that was amazing. I knew he was gonna catch
Because
her.
there's
Yeah.
nothing hotter than peeing in between cars in a
Nothing.
parking lot in
She
Bakersfield
had to
and then having a
go.
sunflower seed spit onto your
Right.
boob and you're like, man.
But couldn't it be like a watermelon seed or something? Like a sunflower seed is just so utterly disgusting
Couldn't
to me.
it be
Like,
not involving spitting on
well,
people? Like,
some people like that.
I guess.
Well, can you tell us a little bit what it was like dressing James Leisure? Because, we saw him in the bar last week and he was all slick and sexy.
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, is it just pretty, like, general baseball gear and then...
Some tight jeans.
Yeah, how many pairs of jeans did you try on him? Because you got him to
And did you
fit
just make him
right.
bend over? Did like the fitting
Yeah.
consist of like just bend over
Yeah.
these ones? No.
It worked
no.
really well.
Well, he I mean, he's pretty all right, I have to say. He's pretty fine to dress, and he's a gentleman. And he's a real he's a hugger in real life.
Oh,
he's,
dear.
Yeah, it's really hard.
What? Did you say he's a hugger?
She also said it's really hard.
He comes into the first fitting we did in LA, and a lot of actors are, I don't want to say shy, but they're just meeting you for the first time, and they have to get pretty much naked in front of you. So it's uncomfortable even for seasoned famous people. And he's one of those actors where he came into the room, he said hello, he's very open and very gregarious and really nice, but in a soft, smooth kind of way. And
I'm dying right now.
I'm a hugger. Oh, hug. And he hugged my assistant, and we were all, suddenly our knees were weak, and he probably could have put anything on, and I'd have been fine with it.
Well, there you go, James Leisure.
Right. Do you need a second assistant for any of his fittings from now on? You just let me know.
Yes, and where we have our fittings in LA at Warner Brothers, of course, there's all the other shows that are working in there. So, yeah, there was a lot of, like, going by our room when the door was open.
Oh, my God. That's so amazing.
The perks of the
A lot of
job.
looks.
I do love that. And Abby really loves it, too.
Yes.
I have a question about Abby's character because I do feel like, because she's starting to dress it down a little bit because of
Right.
the baseball thing, but also I think because she's trying to kind of be like, I'm a cool girl. I'm chill.
Trying to fit in with the baseball
Also,
mom?
Trying to be a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's trying to fit in with the moms in her Abby way. I mean, the one-shouldered polka dot flouncy top to the baseball game isn't quite the baseball mom singlet that's all bedazzled. She still keeps her own style, but yeah, she's into her jeans, and you will notice that she doesn't wear. She's always still in her heels most of the time.
Yeah.
She wore sneakers one time. I got them on her one time, and this is sort of a combo of me and Lisa and this character. And you'll notice they were the wedge Converse.
Snedges?
So, yeah, yeah. And
I have some of those. I've never worn them.
I can't.
we only wore them in the laundry room.
Oh.
At the football at the motor inn that they were staying in. We only wore them there. She still wears her high heels, to baseball on
As
the
she
baseball
should.
field. The sort of the joke on our show. And every new director that comes in says, "Does Abby ever wear flats or sandals?" I'm like, no.
No.
She wears heels or bare feet. And that's it.
I
They're
love
They're like,
that.
oh, okay.
I love that so much. Now that we have you for a few more minutes, we could talk about the show for hours and hours about what happened tonight.
That's fun. Yeah.
But you are here. You are a beautiful gem, and we have to take advantage of it. Okay, so I just want to talk for a minute about your career. I did a little research on you, and you started off as a performer. Is that correct? Or you were working in theater and dance?
I worked in theater. I was a dancer in musical theater, and that's where I started, in theater and dance. Yeah.
That's so cool. And then you just kind of started designing things and getting into fashion, and then you how does one become a costume designer, for a show like this especially?
Well, it's film and TV are one of those genres, one of those jobs in life that you can still kind of make your own way without having to have a million degrees under your belt. But I did have a background in theater, and then I went to fashion design school, and then I decided I got a job building a tutu for a film, and I kind of got hooked. I just loved the whole set thing. I was hooked, and then I basically stalked a production designer for about a year and said, "I'll do anything. Like, what is your next project? I'll do anything." And so he asked me, he was doing an indie, and that was my first show. And I've never done anything. That was in '94, and I haven't done anything since. And you just have to I have an agent and everything. You have to promote yourself and work hard at it from all angles, and find what you're good at, like what genre you're good working in. And although my next project is nothing like this, so that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of scared to death, but
Can you tell us yet what it is?
Yeah, it's just we're starting up really soon. It's the second season of a series of unfortunate events.
Ooh, that's amazing! Congratulations!
Yeah, so it's really different from what I usually do. I think the only thing I've done like that before is Halo, where it's total fantasy and total build, and not so much fashion and shopping, which I'll miss, but I'll come back to it.
Oh, you will, because you've worked on Unreal before, right? You've worked with Marti before.
Yes, and they're back for a third season, and I'm so sad I'm not on it because I really got attached to them. I love Constance Zimmer and Shiri Appleby, and we really had so much fun. But this season they're doing a bachelorette, so
lots of men.
Lots of men, which is great, but I think I prefer to do 26 women as opposed to 26 men.
Unless it's 26
Really?
James Leasers.
I was going to say, really?
Yeah.
You can have a lot more. I think, wardrobe-wise, you can have a lot more fun with 26 gowns versus 26 versions of a suit or pant and shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I know the designer on the show will do an amazing job, and I know the show will be great because it's just such a crazy show. But yeah, gowns and bikinis and date dresses and
way more fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions? Because I have a couple more up my sleeve if you don't.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Lindsay has one.
I do. I have to ask. Is there, you don't have to name names, but I'm just saying, is there anyone on the show that is a pain in the rear end to dress? That is because people have opinions. I'm just saying. When I'm getting dressed in the morning, sometimes I go through everything in my closet that I've actually picked out, and I hate the way everything looks. Do you ever get people that come in and they don't really like what you put on them?
I'm going to say no, and the reason is because we are in now season 5. We know the characters really well, and I like to come in super, super prepared at the very beginning of a season with lots of ideas and storyboards and tears and everything for the cast, so that they feel like I'm really giving them I'm giving them options, and I come in with a really good idea of who I think the character is, and then they feel comfortable. So we kind of build from there, and that makes it really easy. So I don't have to deal with a lot of, I hate this, or what are you doing, or this mug, or anything like that. But where I do run into that sometimes is with not even guest stars, but day players, people that come in to do
It's always the little
one
people.
episode.
It's true.
And we don't get to spend much time with them, and they come in, and we've got a much smaller range to work with them, and it's kind of sometimes those.
And it's so important to them because it's probably like the first time they've gotten a role, so they're like so stressed out about what they're wearing.
Exactly. Or they do this a lot, and they play these kind of roles a lot, so they want to add a little bit more this time. So
Sure.
there's more conversation and dialogue, and I really have to dial down my or dial up my patience level and just realize and think that and know that I got to give these people a minute more than usually is. Like in and out, got it done, it's all good.
So how difficult is it to give Scott the right aprons that he needs to cover the necessary parts, given the fact that he doesn't wear a lot of clothing? Do you
And
have
does
to
anything
get,
go under the apron?
Right. Do you have to get like longer ones or, how exactly are you, because how are you handling these scenes? Critical scenes.
So we have another actor that just comes in with his cute English accent.
We love Will.
He brought us last season, Cynthia. He brought us vegan cake pops. He came in the studio, and I mean, I just about died.
Yeah.
I didn't even eat his cake pops, and it was smitten.
They were delicious. And I hate vegan stuff.
He's again a super nice guy. He's
So nice.
he comes in all elegant and cheeky, and always brings a
definitely
gift of usually food, and again is serious about his character, but he's got this quirky comic edge to him, I guess. And again, like, he's just so crazy good looking and all of that, and then he's got this boyish charm. I don't know, I could go on about Scott. And yes, he's got a body to die for, and he's a dancer, and so therefore, as you may know this, but dancers and actors that work in theater aren't afraid to get naked. Usually, those are the ones. Those are the people that aren't afraid to get naked, because when you're working on stage or in dance, a lot of times the quick changes happen behind the curtain. So it's just like drop it and put the next thing on. So, yep.
So he comes in and drops it.
Well, your job just gets better and better.
And on camera, I mean, there's not a lot, there's not a lot of modesty behind the apron.
Behind.
We have seen most of Will Temp.
Well, one last question for the night before we let you go. I just want to talk a little bit about the Cher costumes.
Oh, gorgeous.
And how you did each one, kind of. In a shortened way, but about each costume.
Well, of course the writers had ideas of who would be embodying what Cher in what generation, and then we kind of played around with that, because obviously we knew that Delia had to be the gypsies, tramps, and thieves, moment with the braids and all the, and she.
Oh, she looked
I mean,
amazing.
maybe I think hers was my favorite, to be honest.
She was my favorite.
She looked amazing.
Yeah, because it all came together.
It was perfect.
I mean, we found those suede pants at Nordstrom, and we just put the ribbon on the top, and we made the top to match, and then we made all the ribbons and the faux fur pieces for her hair and all that jewelry. It was really kind of a shop, which was amazing, and she just pulled it off. It was so much fun. And Phoebe's is, supposed to be a Bob Mackie gown, and we couldn't even afford to rent a Bob Mackie gown, so we made it. We made that. That was costumers beating that gown for days and days and days, and
it was gorgeous.
It fitted like a glove. It was perfect.
Yeah, well, it was made for her.
Well, that explains.
And Beau should have it, because I mean, my God, and her boobs are just right there. It's just like amazing.
Yeah.
I was kind of sad with the long hair. She needed it to be Cher, but I was like, oh my God, don't cover all that up. And then Jo was obviously, I mean, she made reference to Moonstruck, and when she got the slap when they were from Delia, when they were in the vintage store, I loved that moment. That was so great.
She needed that.
Oh,
because she was stalking Frumkiss.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And we just decided to go with the 80s, 90s version of, there is a costume that's super similar to that Cher wore, and it's just a fishnet bodysuit, and we just put Swarovski all over it, and that crazy wedge hair. And yeah.
Not a good look.
Yeah. I wish we saw more of those dresses, but anyways, that's TV for you. So.
Yeah. Well, they were amazing, and
Yeah.
you are absolutely amazing. It was so lovely talking to you tonight.
Oh, you too. You
Thank
too.
you so much. So,
Yeah.
for the fans, one more time, let's give you another shout out for social media. Where can they find? Do you ever post pictures of dresses and costumes, any of that?
All the time. Like, go to my Instagram. There was something I posted from something we shot last night.
Ooh, guys.
Really fun.
All
yeah.
right, well, where
So
can they
that's a
find
bit of
you?
a spoiler, but I won't tell you what it's for. But you can see what it might be in season 5.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So let's give it one more time so the viewers
okay.
that
It's
can
just
know.
it's Cynthia Summers on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's just at Cynthia Summers, and Twitter is Cynthia A Summers.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. We're gonna let you go.
Yeah,
You're
it's nice talking
amazing.
to you
It was
guys.
so nice talking to you.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm looking here too either. Anyway.
You're good. You're good. Don't even worry about it. Don't
We
worry
don't
about
either
it at
half
all.
the time.
No one knows where they're looking.
Are you over there or where? Anyway, thanks
Okay,
a lot,
so
guys.
yeah, bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, and for us, you can find us.
You can find me, Tara Johnson, on Twitter and Instagram at TJ Wagging Her Tail.
And you can find me, Lindsey Miller, on Instagram and Twitter at Rockin' Mama Life.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, SamDavidsonEntertainment.com, Twitter and Instagram at SamB43. Just want to give another, how amazing was she?
Oh, fantastic.
So great.
So awesome to have her. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Comment, rate, subscribe, chat with us, just talk to us. We love talking about the show. And we will see you next week. Bye. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.